Hey Narwhals, and welcome back to some more weight loss stories. Only a small percentage of our viewers actually subscribe. It's free and you can always change your mind later, so please tap subscribe to join the original 200k Narwhals. A question for the ex-obese people that are currently dating. I've had this debate with my friends. The question basically was if I would date women who rejected me in the past before I lost the weight, and then became interested after I lost the weight. Since I was the only one out of my friend group that lost weight, I had my own answer for that question, but I'm kind of curious what it's been like for you all, and what would you do? My answer to this question was that I probably wouldn't be able to look past the rejection. I can always forgive, but the damage has already been done. I do get that people would probably not want to date you for being obese, and that's totally okay. But for me, I think way deeper, which honestly might be a bad thing. But I think about how she probably dated other people, it didn't work out, so she settled for me because she knows I used to like her. Things like that, you know. There's more stuff to it, but I hope you all get what I mean by this. Everyone has different reasons, and I'm kind of curious to hear about your experiences with people who rejected you in the past, and then suddenly hit you up after you lost weight and got fit. The question is, would you date someone, both men and women, who rejected you in the past before losing weight, and then seemingly became way more interested after weight loss? Or better yet, give them a chance depending on how you got rejected? I think this is a question that will be answered very differently at different times in your life. Personally, I would never date anyone who was unkind to me for any reason, or indeed unkind to anyone, just because they suddenly got interested. Kindness, compassion, manners, civility, and basic decency are really important to me. That being said, if someone just wasn't interested but was still kind and we had a good friendship, for example, I wouldn't be offended if they started to find me attractive once I lost weight. I can't blame people for being more attracted to someone who's 140 pounds than 250. However, I don't know if I could really form a relationship with someone who wrote me off at my higher weight. The question would always be, if I ever gain weight again, are they going to leave me? A lot of people would say that's their right, that they aren't obliged to stay with someone who isn't taking care of themselves, etc. And it is their right, of course, but I would like to think that if I ever marry someone, that they'll stick with me through literal thick and thin, as I would. If I love someone, I'm not going to dump them because they put on weight. We're not talking 600-pound, can't get out of bed weight, by the way. I think that's a whole other discussion. I've been attracted to people who were overweight, and I've had people be attracted to me when I was overweight, and in neither case because of the weight, which is weird. I do believe deep down that if you're really meant to be with someone because you have that deep, meaningful connection, then weight isn't an insurmountable barrier. It's when the relationship isn't close, and you're still just going by what you see on the surface, that being overweight can be an instant turnoff. So I guess all that is to say that if someone knew me well and weight was a deal breaker, I'd find that harder to accept than someone who didn't know me at all and didn't give me a second look because of the weight. If you know me and that's not enough, then I think maybe just finding me hot later on won't be enough either. I haven't been in the position where the same person became interested in me before and after weight loss. However, I do notice more attention after, and I'm quite open that I have lost weight. Honestly, I think that it's completely fair for someone to be more attracted or interested in someone after their weight loss. Ask yourself whether you like yourself more now that you've lost the weight. I think I'm a happier, more confident person now I've adopted a lifestyle through which I lost weight. I want to be around myself more, and therefore, I think it's understandable that others do too. I personally never dated anyone who wasn't interested in me when I was overweight. In high school, I weighed 225 pounds from 9th to 10th grade. I'm 5 foot 6 inches tall. And then I weighed 150 pounds for 11th and 12th. And people who made fat jokes about me started to ask me on dates. It was very confusing. I get someone having a preference and all that, but why would I date you after you tease me? Also, guys that I asked out that said no to me when I was overweight now ask me if I was still interested in dating after the weight loss. And I just wasn't. I can see that maybe they liked me more because I was more confident, but it just didn't feel right. Well, what if my weight went back up? Which it has. Will these people break up with me over it? I don't know. I'd just rather date someone who likes me for my personality more than my looks. I fell in love with my old FWB, who was a pretty fit guy. He would tell me behind closed doors that he loved me, but he just couldn't be with me. He would look the other way if I walked past him on campus. I stopped being with him because it was clear that he was embarrassed of me. Later on, when I lost the weight, I would secretly hope that I would be good enough for him eventually. I grew up though and realized that a relationship based on my physical appearance is not what I want. What if I get pregnant with this child one day? That would change my body. Would he not want me anymore? I can't live that way. So to answer your question, no. Sorry for the rant, this unlocked a memory that really wrecked my self-esteem back in the day. And not the exact same situation, but I was obese in college and then lost and maintained through my 20s and now 30s. Had a crappy ex-FWB from college, and he would never outright date me for various reasons, but I think part of it was based on my weight. Probably 5 or 6 years ago, another college friend of ours got married, and my now husband and I attended the wedding. I totally got my holy crap, you are super hot moment when we walked to the ceremony location, and the former ex-FWB was standing in the entryway with his wife. His mouth literally dropped when he saw me, and I totally enjoyed it. All my college guy friends had some moments of damn, it was fun. I never would have dated ex-FWB. He was, and probably still is, a terrible person who preyed on my insecurities and the fact that I grew up in a bad family. My life is a million times better now, thanks to therapy, building self-confidence, and just being awesome. On the flip side though, I'm not sure if I'd met my husband at my heaviest if he would have been interested. And I don't blame him. I look much better at a healthier weight, and it aligns better with how we live our life now. That being said, my husband is a good person who cares about me, and I know would still love me even if I gained weight. I've obviously fluctuated throughout our relationship, including a pregnancy, and whatever I weigh has never been an issue. I would be in the depending on how I got rejected camp. Personally, I would never date someone who rejected me because of my weight. If they were ever unkind or dismissive, it would be a hard no, and I've already removed toxic people like that from my life anyway. That being said, I've changed and grown a lot since my highest weight 5 years ago, so I don't immediately take offense if someone who never showed me attention before is now sliding into my DMs. I'm becoming the best version of myself every day. I try not to dwell on my old flaws, but I don't know that, emotionally, I would have wanted to date the old me either. I've never talked about my weight loss with any of my partners. I'm sure they notice it when looking at old photos and the loose skin on my belly. Whatever. I'm 27 and finally accepting who I am and where I am. Flat no. I dated while I was obese, and I dated a lot of guys who pretended that they cared about my health as an excuse to nag me about my weight. Guys who cheated and blamed my weight. Guys who went on a few dates with me and then told me they thought I was great but weren't physically attracted to me. In 2 or 3 long-term relationships where they had mentioned my weight under the pretense of caring about my health, I said, okay, help me. I want to do this, but I need moral support. And they were just like, nah, you gotta do this for yourself, or kept bringing chocolate and stuff into the house and eating it around me. As scroll forward, I've been with my current partner 5 years. He's a bodybuilder, works out 5 days a week, eats super healthy, and he would have every reason to make comments about my lifestyle. He never did, not once, until the day 4 years into a relationship, I decided to diet. When he said, okay, well let me get this app you're using and I'll use it as well, so I'm like doing the hard work with you. He started logging his calories and macros at every meal. He didn't need to because he already knows it, but he appreciates that it really is the hard work part and would stand next to me in the kitchen while I scanned in all the foods, doing it too. He didn't try to come at me with exercise tips. He let me do me. Then one day, 6 months in, I showed a vague interest in his gym, which is in our house, but I never go in there. He didn't push me, but when I found some easy workouts, he asked to take a look at the exercises and then asked if I knew what I had to do for each one. He demonstrated the exercises for me and came into the gym with me to check if I was being safe at first. He has made adjustments to his gym, which is basically a sanctuary just for me, like getting better resistance bands when that was all I could use, and pretending that he needed some anyway. This man has never criticized me, never commented, never given advice or an opinion unless I asked him to. And when I felt like quitting, he has reminded me that he loved me the same and would still love me the same if I decided I was happier the way things were. He loved me at 280 pounds, and he loves me the same at 168. But more importantly, he was willing to stand by me and actually support me in becoming a better version of myself. Those people you've already dated were not about helping you grow as a person, and they proved that. You deserve more. And that brings us to the end, Narwhals. And please tap subscribe to join the original 200K Narwhals. And lastly, here's our featured Narwhal of the Day. I promised myself I would post a progress photo here when I achieved below 200 pounds. I honestly didn't believe I could even get this far. Holy guacamole. Female 5'4", starting weight 265, current weight 197 pounds, and goal weight 140.